administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
Yeah,
What I think is interesting about this case, this story, is you can be highly legal.
In the small but increasingly vibrant town of Dune, Illinois, tensions are reaching a boiling point as local politics take the spotlight. The latest showdown between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Trustee Kiana Beller has ignited a fierce debate and split the community in two. What started as a routine political disagreement has quickly escalated into a full-blown battle over power, transparency, and responsibility. Trustee Beller has emerged as the outspoken critic, fiercely challenging Henyard's management of the town, particularly her lack of transparency. Beller's outspoken stance on the mayor's leadership has deepened the divide, with board meetings becoming increasingly charged and contentious. Some residents stand firmly behind Henyard, believing she's doing the best she can amid tough circumstances, while others rally around Beller's call for more openness and a government that is accountable to its people. As the conflict intensifies, the debate has shifted beyond routine governance to focus on the bigger issues of honesty, transparency, and trust in public office. Town meetings, once uneventful, have turned into heated arenas where every new development in this dispute is scrutinized by an anxious public. The divide between Henyard's supporters and Beller's critics only continues to grow, with no end in sight. The political climate in Dune is growing more volatile by the day, and the future of the town remains uncertain. The outcome of this ongoing power struggle will shape the town's governance for years to come. As residents take sides and tensions rise, Dune faces tough questions about leadership and accountability, and the drama is far from over. The stakes are high, and all eyes are on the next chapter of this contentious battle.
In a room filled with curiosity and concern, Tiffany Henyard addressed her constituents.
The Thornton Township Supervisor and Dalton Mayor invited the community to Township Talk, where she responded to our report about her use of the township credit card.
In the village of Dalton, Illinois, tensions are rising as Trustee Kiana Beller continues to challenge Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration, particularly over financial issues. As one of the more outspoken members of the board, Beller has kept a close eye on the village's financial health, especially regarding recent expenditures in Dubai. Allegations of financial mismanagement have emerged, with critics accusing Henyard of overspending the budget and deliberately stalling paperwork to avoid scrutiny. These concerns have sparked a wider debate about Henyard's leadership, and a recent heated altercation during a board meeting highlighted the deeper issues surrounding her administration. During the intense board meeting, the topic of financial mismanagement surfaced when Beller raised pointed questions about the village's expenditures, specifically concerning certain costs presented under questionable circumstances. When the issue of in-duration charges came up, Beller pressed for answers, asking whether a set budget had already been allocated for these charges. She was shocked to discover that the village had paid for some expenses without prior board approval. After an uncomfortable silence, the village's lawyer tried to explain, stating that the costs were covered by a special event fund and therefore didn't require board approval. He also mentioned that individual bills under $5,000 could be paid without prior authorization, although the board could still approve them retroactively. However, when further questioned, it was revealed that the invoices had been purposely split into smaller amounts under $5,000 to avoid the approval process. This revelation did not sit well with Beller, who refused to overlook what she considered a serious violation of procedure. She voted against the motion and emphasized that the process appeared both unclear and misleading. Henyard, on the other hand, defended the practice, claiming the expenses were within the allocated budget and dismissing Beller's concerns as overdramatic. Beller, a staunch advocate for transparency in governance, argued that trustees had a responsibility to challenge and hold the mayor accountable for decisions made in their presence. She suggested that the issue could have been discussed privately, but Henyard has always preferred to address internal matters behind closed doors to maintain privacy. Beller's comments struck a chord with the audience, intensifying the already charged atmosphere in the room. The public's reaction only added fuel to the fire, as whispers of discontent spread through the crowd. For many residents, the problem with Henyard's leadership goes beyond isolated financial disputes. They see a pattern of questionable spending, a lack of transparency, and a fundamental disregard for accountability, issues that have worsened during her time in office. Beller and others argue that Henyard's approach to governance is not just inefficient, but also damaging to the community's trust in its leaders. A recent incident further deepened the public's concerns. At a board meeting, Henyard presented the village's budget at an unusually late hour, 3:26 p.m., which led to complaints from both board members and residents. Trustee Beller expressed her frustration, claiming the timing was deliberately chosen to prevent proper review of the budget before the vote. She noted that in previous years, the budget had been presented earlier, allowing residents ample time to review and provide feedback. Instead of addressing Beller's concerns, Henyard dismissed them, showing little regard for public input or transparency. This lack of openness in financial affairs is symptomatic of a larger issue: Henyard's tendency to brush off criticism and downplay legitimate concerns about her administration. Her tenure as mayor has been marked by a troubling double standard. As a trustee, she was known for her meticulous scrutiny of even the smallest budgetary details. But as mayor, she seems to ignore or justify questionable spending decisions. The contrast between her previous approach to budgeting and her current disregard for scrutiny has only fueled suspicion among the community. Further evidence of Henyard's questionable financial management surfaced during a credit card scandal. Henyard had approved a series of transactions totaling tens of thousands of dollars on the village's credit card, without providing sufficient documentation or explanations for the expenses. When the finance director revealed that the credit cards had been canceled the previous year, residents, including Trustee Beller, became even more determined to get answers. They demanded an explanation for why the cards had continued to be used after being deactivated. Henyard's defense was weak, and she continued to insist that the charges were justified despite the glaring absence of supporting documentation. As the investigation into the credit card transactions progressed, Henyard's leadership came under even greater scrutiny. At one point, she accused board members and other respected community figures of embezzling funds from the village. These unfounded and inflammatory accusations only heightened the already growing sense of unease surrounding her administration. In response, Trustee Beller presented damning evidence, revealing that the group overseeing the village's finances, including Henyard's own team, was responsible for approving the questionable expenses. Bank emails exposed that Henyard had control over account management, directly contradicting her previous claims of being unaware. Despite the mounting evidence against her, Henyard continued to cling to her narrative of victimization, accusing political opponents of trying to destroy her reputation and diminish her influence. This response further solidified the perception that she was more concerned with defending her image than addressing the pressing financial issues facing the town. The lack of accountability and refusal to take responsibility for her actions has left many residents questioning her ability to lead. What was once a strong base of support for Henyard has grown increasingly disillusioned, especially in light of the ongoing scandals, secrecy, and lack of transparency. Residents are now asking whether Henyard can put the needs of the town above her own ego and self-interest. The larger question for the village is whether Henyard's administration will continue to undermine the community's future by prioritizing political games over responsible governance. As public trust in her ability to lead continues to erode, the village finds itself at a crossroads. The path ahead remains unclear, and the outcome of this political struggle will have lasting implications for the town's future. Whether Henyard can restore the faith of her constituents, or if a new leader will rise to guide the village toward stability, remains to be seen. One thing is certain: the political climate in Dalton has dramatically shifted, and the fallout from this ongoing drama will undoubtedly shape the town's political landscape for years to come.
Can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking.
The growing divide between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and the other trustees in Dune, Illinois, has become glaringly obvious, especially as tensions escalate over financial transparency and governance. Trustee Kiana Beller, along with her fellow board members, has consistently advocated for openness and collaboration. However, Henyard, in her position of power, seems determined to remind the board that they do not handle the day-to-day operations. Her harsh approach has only fueled the perception that she is more focused on consolidating her own authority than serving the people of Dune. Residents are increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress, as political infighting continues to overshadow the town's pressing needs. Many, including people like Darrell Way, believe public servants should work for the community's benefit, not their own personal gain. Trustee Kiana Beller has been vocal in calling attention to Henyard's extravagant spending and her failure to foster cooperation among the board. Beller's persistence in pushing for accountability has earned both praise and criticism, but it's evident that her efforts have made her a target in Henyard's increasingly defensive administration. As the situation intensifies, Henyard's leadership has come under fire. Once known for promoting accountability and transparency, she now seems determined to avoid addressing the concerns raised by the board. Her reluctance to engage in open discussions has only solidified the community's belief that she's more interested in expanding her influence than fulfilling her mayoral duties. Recent confrontations at board meetings have exposed deeper issues within the administration. In one heated exchange, Beller, along with Trustee Jason House and the Finance Department, revealed that they had been repeatedly denied access to basic financial documents essential for informed decision-making. Henyard's refusal to share these documents, citing the need for her personal consent before distribution, only raised more suspicions about her leadership and governance style. This marked a pivotal moment in the ongoing political crisis in Dune. One of the most shocking incidents occurred when the issue of payroll transparency was brought up. What should have been a straightforward conversation, since payroll information is usually shared openly with trustees, took a dramatic turn. Henyard denied any wrongdoing, insisting that she had never instructed anyone to withhold payroll reports. However, when Beller reviewed emails, she found evidence that the finance director had, in fact, followed Henyard's instructions to delay the release of these reports. The discovery caused an audible gasp from the crowd, underscoring the growing disbelief and frustration surrounding Henyard's administration. But the payroll issue was only one symptom of a much larger problem: Henyard's tendency to cultivate a culture of secrecy within her administration. Trustees had not received any credit card statements since May of the previous year, despite the ongoing financial turmoil in the village. Beller, rightfully pointing out the absurdity of approving bills without seeing them first, demanded answers. Henyard responded by insisting the town no longer use the credit cards, claiming they had been canceled months ago. However, when Beller pressed for proof of this claim, Henyard's evasive responses only fueled the fire. The situation worsened when it became clear that Henyard had authorized expenditures that the trustees had not properly approved. Henyard's refusal to provide evidence or clarification regarding these financial decisions has deepened the community's distrust. Many believe she is attempting to cover up financial mismanagement and avoid taking responsibility for her actions. The ongoing power struggle between Henyard and the trustees has hampered the town's ability to focus on more urgent matters. The mayor's attempts to retain control over financial matters have created a significant barrier to progress. This latest round of disputes has further isolated Henyard from her colleagues and the residents of Dune. While Beller and the other trustees continue to push for transparency, Henyard's defensive and often dismissive stance is only widening the divide between her and the board. As more issues come to light, it appears Henyard's administration is heading into increasingly dangerous territory, both politically and financially. For the people of Dune, this political drama is not just about heated board meetings. It's a reflection of deeper concerns about leadership, accountability, and the future of the village. As residents grow more frustrated with the lack of progress and the ongoing power struggle, the question remains: can Dune overcome this leadership crisis, or will it repeat the mistakes of the past? The outcome of this conflict will likely have lasting implications for the town, as the political drama surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Trustee Kiana Beller continues to unfold.
Concerns in Thornton Township and a push to regulate what some call out-of-control spending by township.
The growing divide between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and the other trustees in Dune, Illinois, has become impossible to ignore. Despite Trustee Kiana Beller and her colleagues pushing for transparency and collaboration, Henyard appears to be using her power to remind the board that they do not manage day-to-day operations, and she does so without the necessary tact. Her harsh methods, however, have only solidified the perception that she is more focused on consolidating her authority than on serving the people of Dune. As a result, locals are becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress and the ongoing political fighting. Many are beginning to voice their discontent, suggesting that Henyard is the main obstacle preventing the completion of critical tasks. Darrell Way, along with other residents, believes public servants should work for the community's benefit, not for their own personal gain. This sentiment resonates with many in Dune, who feel Henyard's extravagant spending and failure to foster cooperation among the board have only made the situation worse. Another local claimed Henyard's leadership has only highlighted her self-interest. "I didn't realize anything would allow you all to take control of me," Henyard reportedly said, revealing a sense of vulnerability but also acknowledging that her actions have sparked much of the controversy. Once proud of her efforts to promote transparency and accountability, Henyard now appears determined to avoid both. Trustee Kiana Beller's relentless pursuit of answers has earned her admiration from some, but it has also made her a target for Henyard's increasingly defensive administration. As the political clash continued, it became clear that the conflict between Beller and Henyard would not be resolved anytime soon. Henyard is fighting to retain power amid mounting criticism, while Beller is striving to restore trust and ensure accountability in local government. This ongoing drama is yet another chapter in the long and unpleasant saga of municipal politics, gone awry in Dune. For the people of Dune, the crucial question remains whether the village can overcome its current leadership crisis, or if it will inevitably repeat its past mistakes. One thing is certain, the political drama in Dune, Illinois is far from over. Mayor Henyard and Trustee Beller might soon find themselves at the center of a political reality show, as tensions continue to rise. The disputes have exposed much deeper issues within the administration, including seemingly unchecked power, poor financial management, and an ongoing power struggle that has paralyzed the town. Board meetings, once routine, have now become marked by unprecedented levels of turmoil. Residents are fed up, and the mounting pressure is beginning to spill over into the public domain. In one particularly shocking exchange, Trustee Jason House and the Finance Department revealed they had been repeatedly denied access to the financial records they needed to make informed decisions. They had requested these documents for months, but Henyard insisted they required her permission to share them. This refusal to provide basic financial transparency deepened suspicions about Henyard's leadership. One of the most eye-opening moments came when payroll transparency was raised during a recent meeting. It seemed like a simple issue. Providing payroll information to trustees should be standard practice. However, Henyard denied any wrongdoing, insisting she had never instructed anyone to withhold payroll reports. But when Beller accessed emails, she uncovered that the finance director had, in fact, followed Henyard's directives to delay the release of the reports. The revelation sent a shockwave through the room, with the crowd audibly gasping at the discovery of such a glaring issue. However, payroll access is just one aspect of a much larger problem within Henyard's administration. She has fostered a culture of secrecy that extends far beyond payroll matters. During the same meeting, it was revealed that the board had not received credit card statements since May of the previous year, despite the ongoing financial crisis in the village. Beller, once again questioning the lack of transparency, pointed out that if the town was paying bills, the trustees needed to see exactly what they were approving. Henyard responded by claiming the credit cards had been revoked months earlier and were no longer in use. However, Beller was not satisfied with Henyard's response. She demanded evidence to support the claim that the credit cards were no longer in use and questioned the lack of definitive statements. Henyard's refusal to provide the necessary proof only deepened suspicions surrounding her leadership and added another layer of complexity to the ongoing disputes. In the midst of all this, Henyard continued to claim that the trustees did not intentionally approve the use of funds, while simultaneously attempting to avoid accountability for the actions of her administration. The mayor's insistence on defending herself in the face of mounting evidence has alienated even more residents, who now question whether she is truly working for the betterment of Dune. As tensions rise, residents are left wondering how much longer they can endure the political chaos. The leadership crisis in Dune has reached a boiling point, and the community is divided on whether Henyard is capable of leading the village through these turbulent times. For now, it seems that the political drama surrounding Henyard and Beller is only just beginning. Whether Dune can overcome its leadership crisis remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the stakes are higher than ever.